We are listening to ourselves talk to ourselves all day long. And if we're not careful, our self talk can be something that really just runs us into the ground a little bit. And this has definitely been the case for me at some points of college. I wanted to share three really powerful things you can say to yourself to kind of build up that self talk and self care uh, part of yourself. And those three things are: this won't change how I feel about you, this is the best thing that could have happened to me, and three, I'm not giving up on you. We're going to go into each one, why I think each one is so powerful. And as always, if the podcast is helpful for you, definitely hit the follow button. Let me know how it is helping you in your life. And with that all said, let's just jump right into it. This thought of I really like the thought of this won't change how I feel about you. This is really something that came up with my overall relationship with God when things wouldn't go well, or I was really stressed about an assignment and just was stressed about the outcome. I would say, this isn't going to change how I feel about you. I'm still going to trust your plan. I'm still going to do what you want me to do to the best of my ability. I'm still going to try. This isn't going to damage that relationship. And I think it's really important to kind of give yourself this kind of same grace. Is like, okay, even if this is really difficult, I'm not going to let this affect my relationship with myself. You're basically detaching yourself from the conversation, from the outcome. And I think this is extremely valuable, especially like with things that are on either side of the extreme, because it's easy to think of, oh, I'm a failure, and really that was just an event. When I failed accounting last year, it was really just an event. It wasn't me as a person. It was actually a very defining moment for me as a person, was what am I going to do with this? And I think this is really just a super valuable thing you can start telling yourself is, this isn't going to change how I feel about you. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep moving forward. And ultimately, I'm going to keep loving you. I'm going to keep trying to show that love, even if it's really difficult, even if we fall behind on this test, even if we do something else. Because if we don't let that happen, if we do let it change how we feel about ourselves, that is going to not be good. It's going to be like digging a hole that is going to be kind of hard to dig out of. But when you kind of give yourself that grace and say, this isn't going to change anything, that's extremely powerful. The second thing is just that this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I think this is a really powerful thought, of course. It came from when I was listening to Danny Miranda's podcast at one point, and he's talking with a guy, and the guy said that is how he sees like everything in his life. And I've used this a number of times, usually when something is really difficult or I've made a choice that I'm not very pleased with. Like today, I took a nap and missed precious time. I could have done a quiz or a homework for my crazy managerial accounting class. But I really asked myself this morning or this afternoon when I woke up, like, how could this be the best thing that's ever happened to me? And really coming up with some reasons, some ways. And I think one big thing for me is just that it helps me to practice that self care with myself and be like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're not going to lay back now that this has happened. We're going to keep trying. We're going to rebound. And we're going to take it as far deep as we can and be like, okay, what happened here? How can we do better next time? How can we make it so this is completely impossible to ever happen again? In hindsight, I didn't have the habits of going to the homework review sessions. My bed was right there, as it always is, and I was praying for help and passed out. There's all these different things that I knew, potentially could lead to the outcome I don't really want. And so when you ask yourself this question, you ask yourself, what are some of the things that I can put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and to overall help me move forward in my life and help me try again, and to ultimately help me become a much better version of myself than I currently am. So this is a really powerful quote. I think it's very powerful in just overall getting a feel for your creative abilities, and it also just helps you to think positively. When you think of like the opposite, why is this the worst thing? Like that is super crazy thinking. And the brain is going to come up with answers either side of the spectrum, I promise you that. So the second thing is just the thought of, this is the best thing that could have happened to me. Finally, we have this thought of, I'm not giving up on you. For me, I feel like this is extremely powerful when it comes to anything that comes with the grind of whatever you're doing. With the grind, there are learning opportunities. There are times when you fall extremely short, when you don't plan ahead for time, and all of a sudden you're running out of time. And this is all part of the process. This is all part of the learning experience and the refining that is happening while you are going through that experience. And so saying this thing of I'm not giving up on you is very powerful, and saying like even if we haven't gotten the results that we want, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to give up on these dreams. I'm not going to live a life without belief. I'm going to keep believing in myself. I'm going to keep trying. And I'm not going to give up on any of these things that I have wanted to do in the past. And I'm going to keep trying and moving forward. I think this is exactly what you need a lot of the time, is just that reaffirmation of I've come a really long way and I'm going to finish really strong. And a lot of that is because I'm not going to give up on myself. When you sleep in or when you do something you don't really want to do, you can always do the next right thing, as it says in Frozen 2, and do the next right thing, whether that's planning out your next week, whether that's looking at what's coming up next, whether that's looking at all the assignments you have that you've already done, and just getting an overall feel for everything, for that class that you're doing. All of these show that you're taking action and that you're not going to give up on yourself, and all of them are extremely powerful. And it's something that has helped me in college for sure, is just that, even if I didn't get the result I wanted today, I can change my inputs, I can change my habits, I can change little things and make it so I do get that result that I'm looking for and that I want, and that ultimately I can get to where I want to be. But if I do give up on myself, then I throw away a lot of those learning opportunities. And if I expect only perfection of myself right now, I'm also throwing away those learning opportunities, because I'm saying that I have to be perfect now. And this thought of not giving up on yourself is crucial to just being able to move forward, I think, a lot of the time. So, especially in entrepreneurship. So, those are my thoughts on that quote. And that's all we got for today. It's a quickie episode. I am excited to share that I am coming off a self-care handbook for college students. I'm not quite sure of everything that's going to be in it, but it's going to be a low cost product. It's going to have a survey linked in the show notes, maybe not tonight, but tomorrow, of some of my thoughts on it. Definitely give that a look. I really want to provide as much value to this audience as I can. I feel like I've learned a ton that could be extremely beneficial for people that are going through college. And so that's why I'm creating this handbook, and also be fun to make a little bit of money and send some money out to a charity, because I'm planning to give away 50% of the proceeds to charity, and also just to give myself something difficult to do. I'm really excited to do this. I'm going to get it out January 31st is the plan, but we might have to push it back a tiny bit, but hopefully not too far back. That's kind of the plan. I'm really excited. I think it'll get me in a good good spot, because this is something that past Dallin wouldn't have thought he was capable of doing. But sometimes you just need to let go of what you thought of your past self and just give yourself a new identity by doing something big, like a project or something that kind of blows you away. Like, oh, whoa, this is not Dallin who's upset at himself for not finishing his first book or whatever like that. This is something different. And it just gives you a chance to write a new story. So that's the real takeaway I'd say, is just like remembering that you have the power to write your story. You're constantly writing it, and you can move forward and try again every single time. You can erase some things, you can change how you worded some things in your story, and you can ultimately change a lot of things. Obviously, you can't like go back and erase old pages, but you can change in the moment how you're writing things, and overall look at what you have written and do better in the future, and become a more studious observer of your life, so you can do better in the future. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to heal today. It'll be a better tomorrow.